Mr Speaker, it's a pleasure to follow the member for Basildon and Billericay, who I've jousted with on many an occasion in the Foreign Affairs Committee. But as you'd expect, Mr Speaker, my views are very different, although we draw the same conclusion on this deal today. I will be voting against this deal today because I believe it is a trap and a final attempt by the Prime Minister to leave us in a situation where it will be her deal or no deal. And that is the situation which she wants to create on the 22nd of May, should this deal pass today. But hopefully it won't. During the last 2 years, 18 months has been wasted because the Prime Minister would not discuss with Parliament, nor her government, what was being discussed and negotiated with the EU. After 18 months, the Prime Minister produced the so-called Chequers Plan, which was roundly rejected by many of her own MPs, as well as other members of Parliament. That plan formed the basis for negotiations, leading to the resignations of Cabinet Ministers and deep divisions in the party opposite. The stubbornness of the Prime Minister in running down the clock has left us in the embarrassing position and situation that we are in today. Still, we are debating this on the day that we were due to leave the European Union. Mr Speaker, let me discuss the separation of the withdrawal agreement and the political declaration, because the way that this has been put forward today would seem to me to be a blank cheque, if it's passed, for the new Conservative Prime Minister to put through what I would regard as a hard-right Brexit deal through in the future. And we can already see the leadership candidates trying to outright each other, look more to the right than each other, in the run-up to a competition which I believe has already started, and started from the moment the Prime Minister issued her resignation at the 1922 committee. And what we will see is whatever is agreed by this government, and particularly by a new Prime Minister, is some hard-right version, possibly a Canada-style international trade agreement. And, Mr Speaker, I'm a member now of the International Trade Committee, and I've seen the International Trade Secretary talk about rollovers, and the EU currently has something like 40 international trade agreements. And at the moment, only 8 of those look in any way, shape or form as though they could possibly be rolled over. And if we look at who they're with, very, very minor countries, none of which are of the size and mass of the market that we face in the European Union. And the European Union are still, even though we will leave the European Union, will still be, I believe, the major trading partner, irrespective of what many of the Brexiteers and flat earthers on the other side of this chamber will say. Now, to consider this motion in isolation from the political declaration, as I said, is to give the power to any new Conservative Prime Minister to actually make a mess of our relations in terms of trade with the rest of the world. I think investment decisions, location is key, and the businesses at the moment, irrespective of what the Attorney General said earlier on, is actually going to upset a lot of businesses. And it's not just about when we leave, it's about how we leave. The deal is key, and that's why I think the indicative process that we've already started was important, and I think what we do on Monday is key. But I will be voting down with other colleagues this deal today in the hope that we can get a good agreement on Monday. Thank you, Mr Speaker.
3-minute limit.